Surprise everyone, Trixks here, bringing you a speed paint with my voiceover for the very first time, and I must admit it is one hell of an experience. Just wanted to give you guys a general rundown on how I tackled this little project and why as it unfolds. So sorry you guys missed out on seeing the initial rough sketch drawn up, but it was initially just going to be a project that I would do on the side whilst at work, and while I would have loved to have recorded it, I had already finished the rough sketch at the time that I decided to make it a video, and let's face it, the work computer, while it's all good working with Photoshop, as soon as I hit the record button, everything just turns like an old lady and won't process very well. In the meantime, I'd like to give you guys a little insight into how I tackled the line art of this and typically my other artwork. Recently, I've started working with Photoshop's standard hard round pressure sensitive brush, accompanied by a Windows app that I came across called Lazy Nezumi Pro. That helps me steady and smooth out how shaky my line work can be, as I've only been using a small Wacom Intuos straw tablet. Basically that's the extent of my experience with tablets. It's been the smaller ones because hey, they've been cheaper. While I have been using a digital drawing tablet for a number of years now, I found this shakiness is just something I can't grow out of, as the translation between what the pen is doing and what happens on the screen still isn't 100% on point. Hence, my next artist goal is to save enough to get the Huon canvas pen display that will let me draw straight onto the screen like I would a piece of paper, but that's something that'll have to wait until I save up around 830 New Zealand dollars for. Yeah, so that won't be for a wee while. Anyway, steering away from that tangent, so I had come to the point where I had used this new avatar design and two different art pieces that typically hid a lot of the character from view, and I felt it was time I updated my online avatar representation. So you'll start seeing the finished avatar of this video on my Twitter, YouTube branding and thumbnails, as well as my NewGrounds page. So I typically like to break down my line work as much as possible as everything comes together. It just makes fine-tuning things so much easier. So something I cannot stress enough to you guys is using and abusing Photoshop layers. That and upping how many undos your program will save. There's nothing more frustrating than meeting that undo cap and finding out you have to scrap what you've done and start all over again. So for those familiar with my avatar and her recent appearance in the fan art Christmas gift I did for Cynical from the Gainers joint, will have seen the blatant aqua outfit she was sporting. This originally came to be because I wanted to recreate my Union Cross character. With it being one of my favorite outfits in Kingdom Hearts, I also wanted to include my trademark Minnie Mouse hair that has replaced my old black Mickey Mouse ears on my previous avatar. I've never changed that one hairstyle since it became available to me in game. Pretty sad, I know. The hair design here was initially more straight, like the original Union Cross hairstyle, but I wanted to give it a bit more oomph, as my hair certainly has a stronger mind of its own. Another Kingdom Hearts character I wanted to integrate into my character somehow was Roxas, someone who has been one of my favorites since I was young, and he was first introduced to me in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know why he became my favorite. Maybe it's the blonde hair, blue eyes. Let's just flip those around and see what happens. And of course it was the wristband and finger rings that came to mind. They actually weren't available to female characters in Union Cross, but I pretty much said, feck it, it's the most iconic aspect of his outfit that I wanted to throw on her here, while Aqua was taking up most of the design real estate. Basically everything about her outfit ended up being used. I couldn't quite figure out how to integrate anything else of Roxas in her design. It's rather funny, but projects like this force me to work on things that I loathe to draw, like hands and clothes. I find these two in particular are my weak drawing points, and I know I have some definite room for improvements. As any artist out there will admit, they always have something that they hate to draw and have a fair bit of improvement to make. For example, her hands were initially going to be softly interlocked with each other and folded in front of her, but it turned out that what I was picturing in my head just did not want to translate through my pen. They ended up looking out of scale, or the other arm looked wonky, almost like broken, or like a little, I don't know, shriveled up piece of celery next to her body. So it was just horrible. So I went with a hand position I knew I could draw semi-decently, and that was a cradling hand. I am definitely not immune to taking the easy way out. Sometimes it's just the only way. I'd say the only reason Aqua's skirt ended up being half-pike decent is because of the Aqua illustration reference I had to help me. You can see it on the Photoshop tab next to this drawing. I had it there to pop next to my other monitor for reference as I went through this whole drawing and shading process. But I knew the other half of working with clothing and artwork had yet to hit me, and that was figuring out the lighting and how they would react with the whole folds, because I don't paint clothes very often. Another artist program or app I can highly recommend to those exercising their knowledge of lighting and how it reacts to heads and limbs is Handy, called with the Subtext Art Reference Tool. It's a highly interactive and customizable phone app that feature 3D models of both female and male heads, hands, feet, and even animal skulls if you choose to buy them. I personally have not, because that's creepy. Put some muscle and skin on them and I might be tempted. And with these models, you can create custom lighting treatments, changing the color, position, and brightness of up to, I believe it's 3 different light sources. As you'll see later when I come to the light and shade stage of this Speedpaint, you can export really helpful images that help guide how you apply lighting to your image. This was a very recent discovery of mine, so I've only used it a couple times at this point. But I must say it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation and has helped me a lot. So before you get sick of my voice, I think this is a good point to leave you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of the Speedpaint. Please feel free to leave your feedback on any aspect of this video, be it on the artwork itself, the video editing, or heck, even my commentary. Let me know your thoughts, or if you had any questions. I hope I hear from you guys soon. See ya!
Invincible.